U.S. attorney out of Manhattan, now one of 3 prosecutors who we learned are stepping down. They're refusing to follow orders to drop corruption charges against the city's mayor, Eric Adams. And in just the last hour, in a brand new interview with our station here in New York, our NBC News station, Adams is conducting a new interview. Watch this.
I believe that the AG has made it clear that she's going after weaponization of the Justice Department, and I encourage, and as they say, I'm Eric Adams, and I approve of that message.
And there you have it. Our team just getting its hands on a letter from Danielle Sasson talking about a meeting at the end of January where she says Adams' attorneys, quote, repeatedly urged what amounted to a quid pro quo, that the mayor could help the Justice Department on enforcement priorities only if the indictment were dismissed. But Sassoon did not dismiss the indictment, despite orders from the person who was the number 2 at the time at the Justice Department. And 2 sources say that when she refused, the DOJ reassigned the case to 2 other people who also refused to drop the case and resigned. Remember, Mayor Adams had faced up to 45 years in prison on charges related to wire fraud, bribery, accepting donations from foreign nationals in Turkey. He pleaded not guilty and insists the charges were politically motivated by former President Biden. Tom Winter is joining us now. No evidence to support that, Tom, but let me bring you in because this has been a day of fast-moving developments, to say the least, including late tonight. So let me just start here. As of right now, 5:07 Eastern, have the charges against Adams been officially dropped?
Nope.
Okay. What happens next?
We don't know what happens next. We've never dealt with this before in New York. Among us crime reporters, we've never seen anything remotely like this. We've seen challenges before. We've seen back and forth before. We've seen drama, but it's not really drama for those of us that cover it every single day. This is entirely different. What you have had here, according to Danielle Sassoon, the acting U.S. attorney, well, at least until 1:50 p.m. today.
As of not anymore.
She called it a rushed and superficial decision, according to her letter to the Attorney General of the United States, that was done without her consult between Mayor Adams' attorneys and Emil Bovee. And the question here, Hallie, is why? There's really no good explanation other than perhaps what has been called a quid pro quo by her, which is basically, we'll help out, if you're Mayor Adams' team, we'll help out with the DOJ's enforcement priorities. Immigration is their stated enforcement priority, among other things, in exchange for dropping the members of gangs, people that have been convicted of crimes, people that have been charged with serious violent crimes, to be able to deport those individuals. Here, it appears the focus has been entirely on his own legal matters.
Okay, I was pulling up, I can't get it right now on my computer, but I believe that it was Danielle Sassoon, I think, who also said that in this meeting at the end of January, and it may have been one of these other prosecutors, one of the folks who were in the meeting were taking notes that were ordered destroyed or collected after, right? I mean, like, is that normal that if a prosecutor's assistant is in the room taking notes, that those then get collected by the DOJ for having this kind? Like, what's normal and what's not?
Sure. So she brought somebody from the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Southern District of New York, I don't know who that individual is, to take notes on this meeting. At the end of the meeting, they were admonished for taking notes, and Emil Bovee, who's the acting Deputy Attorney General of the United States, collected those notes according to her letter to the Attorney General. So yes, that's exactly what happened. In her words, it should be noted that the assistants on this case have been put on leave and are now under investigation by the Office of the Attorney General of the United States, as well as the Office of Professional Responsibility. Their access to their offices has been immediately restricted. Their communications with the department, their cell phones, their laptops, et cetera, that access was immediately cut off. And so they're going to continue to get paid, but they're under investigation and inquiry at this time. This is something that we've just not seen before, and it's all because they did not follow the directive from the Deputy Attorney General, at least the acting Deputy Attorney General of the United States.
So who's in charge there now?
So who's in charge there right now is a huge question. You mentioned 2 other resignations. Those were the people at Public Integrity. So they're headquartered in Washington, D.C., where you're normally from. And so they're based there. And they also resigned when they were handed this case this afternoon. So who takes over this case? Who takes over the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Southern District of New York, which oversees terrorism matters, which oversees all sorts of important cases that have nothing to do with all of this on a day-to-day basis? All remains a huge question right now. What is not a question, Hallie, is it's very clear. And if he was sitting here, if Emil Bovee was sitting right here, I'm confident he would say, The directives of this administration are the directives of this administration. Our priorities are our priorities. If you don't like it, either get in line or get out. And that's the message here today.
We talked about fast moving developments. No kidding, because literally as you were talking, I was told, and I'm looking at my email, we just got a statement in literally the last 60 seconds from the attorney for Mayor Adams, for Eric Adams, responding to what you were just talking about, this allegation of a quid pro quo from the prosecutor who resigned. And I have to read it for folks. Eric Adams' attorney is saying the idea that there was a quid pro quo is a total lie. We offered nothing and the department asked nothing of us. Going on to say, I don't know what amounted to means. We said, we asked if the case had any bearing on national security and immigration enforcement, and we truthfully answered it did. So continuing to see this defense, of course, from Mayor Adams about what has gone down here.
You know, as far as he's certainly happy to make that statement, and he's certainly happy to obviously talk about his client. With respect to national security concerns, the mayor, whether or not he has classified any sort of classified access or not, or his credentials, ultimately, there are a lot of other people that are involved in the enforcement of any laws here in the city. And so how much the mayor's ability to do that, based on what I know about the plumbing of New York City law enforcement, doesn't exactly ring true to me.
Yeah.
Perhaps there's something I don't know, but I'm not sure if that's the case.
Tom Winter, don't go far, because at the pace of things today, I imagine there's going to be more to